Hull City start their season positively with a 0-0 draw on the road against a side that very nearly was in the Premier League this season, Coventry City. A very commanding effort to get the clean sheet draw. Feels a bit like a win going on the road and grabbing a point, especially against a calibre side like Coventry City. Hello there and welcome back to the HullCityFanCentral YouTube channel. Today we're going through the entire game, what the key moments, highlights from it were, team-wise, the new plays that were featured in this game, all the stuff you need to know around this game, my honest reaction from it. I've just come off the live stream where I was covering it. Of course, that will be up on the channel if you want to watch the entire game again with my sort of thoughts ongoing. We did have quite a bit of fun there on the live stream as always, but the championship campaign for this season starts positively for Hull City as Sergei Akirovich picks up his first point as Hull City manager and first point in English football for Sergei Akirovich after the 0-0 draw against Frank Lampard's Coventry City. As I said, Coventry City, they was in the playoff final last year against Sunderland and they just lost out narrowly on a penalty shootout, and they've kept majority of that team from last season. They have got big aspirations this season to go and do it again. Playoffs or even automatics. So Coventry City, certainly a side. It's a tough start to the season for Hull City, certainly a side that everyone is writing off from minute one. And I've said it time and time again. I've said it in the live stream a few times. We are here to play the dark horse. We're here to play the underdogs. We're here to play as the Joker. We are here to cause a problem. We are here to prove so many people wrong and go into this season. Yes, none of us fans, we're all optimistic, but we're not saying, oh, Hull City are going to get playoffs, going to get promotion. No, we're going to be a very solid mid-table side this season, and you saw it from minute one this game. Second half, first half. As we've seen pre-season, very different in their stylistic plays, their tactical analysis from Sergei Akirovich, the adaptability. That's the key word that I've been saying. It's what he said in his opening press conference, adaptability within the squad. And we've seen it time and time again, and it's paid fruition all the time. So let's go through the game. Well, it was a very close game. The closest strike did come for Coventry through Milan van Ewijk, who had a bit of a curling effort, who pounded off the side post, and then Sakamoto for Coventry wasn't able to get the rebound in, and that was the closest either side came. There was a bit of a tuffle later on where that was a bit close, and there was maybe very close to some fists being thrown, and we'll cover that in a minute, as I said. So coming into the Hull City squad, so Hull City did hand full Hull City debuts to John Lundstrom, Semi Ajayi and Joel Endala. Of course, full debuts in competitive action for them. Also, Joe on the bench was Joe Geltart, Dylan Phillips and Ollie McBurney, all three of them new signings. Joe Geltart announced today re-signing, of course, come back on loan for the entirety of this season. Ollie McBurney and Geltart both played in this game. Akinfenwa was also on the bench, but he wasn't used as a substitute as well. So, we'll go into some of the stat plays. So possession-wise, Hull City were leading the possession a little bit in the first half, and then it sort of dwindled off in the second half. So Coventry had a bit more of the favour of possession, 57.9% of it. Shot-wise, 17 for Coventry, 7 for Hull. On target, 3 apiece. There you have it. And 8 corners for Coventry, 2 for Hull City. Foul-wise, 7 for Coventry, 11 for Hull City, and 3 yellow cards apiece. Of course, a lot of them coming in them closing stages with the little bit of tuffle. As I said, we'll talk about that in a minute. So game-wise, Hughes had some fantastic blocks in this game to block Rodoni. A couple in the first half, a couple in the second half, and really Hughes was showing to the side that wants him, the side that have been putting in £4 million, £7 million bids to bring Charlie Hughes in as this next sort of new centre-back, the new prospect in the Championship, the Hull City prospect at the moment. And Hull City saying, well, no, he's worth 20 millions. More than 20 million. He's happy staying here. We're happy with him. He's staying. And he just comes into the game with captain armband on, as he's the new vice captain. Coyle out injured. He's going to have the captain's armband for the next few games and has a fantastic time on the field, blocking the current Coventry City #1 sort of fan favourite, Jack Rodoni, a few different times with sliding, standing blocks, all sorts. Saw throughout the game, Regan Slater had a volley from a Ryan Giles left wing across. This was blocked just before around the 30-minute mark of the game. And then the same man side-footed well wide of a neat footwork from Ndala. Sakamoto was a difference maker for Coventry as he dragged wide from 20-yard post after 20 yards out. Dragged it wide of the post after a patient approach play from the hosts. So goalless throughout the first half. Coming into the second half, still goalless. Of course, did end up 0-0, so it was all goalless. Of course, Coventry had in goal Carl Rushworth, ex-Hull City goalkeeper. We'll come back to how that sort of feeds into things in a minute. Van Ewijk in the 53rd minute was that delightful shot that pounded off the post, and that was the one of the closest efforts. The Tigers did respond with an opening, a Giles raking crossfield pass, picking out Giles. It was a fantastic pass, whose inviting cross was glanced wide of the fast post by Slater. He barely got anything on it, and it was literally just like he just grazed a few monocles of his hair and went out of play. So very, very close once again. Slater had quite a few chances in this game. We'll talk about it in a minute when we go through the squad and how they all played. But he had quite a few chances and he was playing a bit of a different role. But stay with me, I'll talk about it in a minute. Ajay then nodded Slater's head free kick into the arms of Carl Rushworth before a double switch on the 70th minute mark. McBurney came on along with Casey Palmer, of course, formerly of Coventry City. They replaced Kyle Joseph and Regan Slater. Matt Crooks did go down injured at a point in the second half, and we thought that Casey Palmer was going to come on for him. He seemed fine, he continued, he got his retreatment, he was on his way and he's all fine for the rest of the game. So, of course, we'll keep up to date if there's anything come out after the game with that one. But as far as I'm aware, everything's fine with Matt Crooks. So everything sort of played out until the end of the game. So, Geldhart did come on for his second debut for Hull City in replace of Kamara with 10 minutes to play before Nathan Tinsdale was introduced for his senior debut for Hull City in the closing stages, and he came on to replace Ndala. We'll talk about Ndala, of course, in a minute as well. 8 minutes were signalled before this sort of moment happened. So, ball whipped into the box, right on top of the keeper. Matt Crooks comes charging in. Fair enough. Kyle Rushworth grabs it. Matt Crooks comes in for the header. Of course, he's up in the air. He's a big lad, Matt Crooks. He can't stop himself, and he just comes barreling into Kyle Rushworth, of course, former Hull City player. That goes down to the decks. Free kick awarded. I think it was Kitching for Coventry City, and he got away with this scot-free. Was sort of inciting Matt Crooks, going, "Hey, what you think you and what you think you're doing?" Of course, then Carl Rushworth gets involved. A few little fists were thrown, grabbed, not thrown, but like sort of offered, grabbing the shirt. Of course, Ollie McBurney, well, he's going to get involved, isn't he? So then he comes in, sort of barging his way in. And worthy note there, of course, it's Carl Rushworth against the side that he was at last season, but with Matt Crooks and Ollie McBurney, two players that, well, he didn't have on the squad last season. Both newer additions. Crooks, of course, in the January after Rushworth left, and McBurney, of course, this past week. So that's the big moment there. Yellow card awarded to Rushworth, McBurney, and also to Matt Crooks. So that's how that one diffused, and wasn't really anything too much further from that on either side on the aggression standpoint. It was more of a diffusal situation. Both teams looking to try and maybe grab a winner. Coventry wanting it maybe a bit more than Hull City is there, looking to build on from a successful season last season and make it an even more successful one this season. So that's probably why that one happened. Referee nipped it in the bud pretty easily. But yeah, wondering how Kitchen got away with it. He seemed to be the one that was inciting the sort of Matt Crooks situation. So, yeah, very interesting one there. He was the first person that came over and barged his head into it and went, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" So, yeah, very interesting that. But then sort of the game finished out. The last sort of moment was a free kick in a bit of an advantageous spot for Coventry. And I mean, as I said on the live stream, if we was playing rugby, it would have been a try. It was that high that it would have gone over the posts in rugby, but went right over the crossbar. So team-wise for Hull City, let's rack through the team and we'll talk about how each player did. And then, of course, I'll give you my Man of the Match award. So, Evo Panda, of course, started in net. He played the full 90. Promising stuff from Panda, of course. Clean sheet, some good saves in there. No mistakes with his passing play. Changed it up a bit. There was a moment where he did have to receive a bit of treatment on the field as a bit of a loose foot. I believe it was from... who was it from? Was it from Rodoni? Or it might have been from Van Ewijk. One of the two. I can't fully remember now. A bit of a loose foot. Came right across his face. Received the treatment, of course. Head injury. You got to be careful. He continued the game completely fine. So that's fine with Panda. Drama. Positive stuff again. Somebody said in the live stream. You can see why Crystal Palace are looking around Drama. Fantastic defensive game here. He was blocking whoever was out on that left wing for Coventry. It was a few different players. Now, Brandon Thomas Asante was there at one point. Mason Clark even had some blocks against Hadji Wright, who came on for them. So some brilliant stuff there from Drama defensively. Didn't maybe work as nicely as his other fullback in Ryan Giles, progressing the attacking play, but Drama's defensive attributes in this game were very key, and a very, very solid defender at that right back position, doing a fantastic job. Similarly with Semi Ajayi and Charlie Hughes, I lumped them together because centre halves did a very similar job. Semi Ajayi, of course, helping a bit more with the attacking play, but Charlie Hughes did too, both working very nicely. Hughes with the good blocks, as I said earlier on, against Rodoni and a few other players. Semi Ajayi had some good clearing headers. He had a really good one where he was charging back and he used his pace and slid around Hadji Wright to clear the ball out for a corner kick, which that one probably would have been a ball that would have been very troublesome for either Panda if Hadji Wright had shot or if he played off to someone. It's another one of them moments where you look at Semi Ajayi and the play that he made there, and that's another one of the moments where you go, maybe that was the moment where we held on when we grabbed the 0-0 draw. So fantastic there from both of our centre halves. I've already touched on Ryan Giles, where he had a fantastic game once again. With sort of a report came out a bit before the game, Giles saying that the new confidence that he's been given by Sergei Akievich, he's rolling back the years of Ryan Giles, and I say rolling back the years, a couple of years, back to when he was at Middlesbrough on that season-long loan, grabbing double-figure assists in the Championship, and I feel like we could see the same this season. The balls that he was shaping into the box, and I mean, if you have an Ollie McBurney on from minute one, well, then goals are going to come, aren't they? The ball's coming in, McBurney nodding them in, various different players getting around it, and it was fantastic down that left-hand side, producing cross after cross after cross, promising balls into the box, and I'm liking the re-return of Ryan Giles. Matt Crooks played that pivotal role once again. We've talked about it until the cows come home. That role that he's played in midfield. He's playing a bit similar with Lundstrom as well. Go with them two in a similar capacity as well. Both of them playing a bit of alternate roles. So Lundstrom maybe going a bit deeper and then allows Crooks to charge on. I will say though that Crooks was running like hell. He was charging forwards. He was getting involved in the attack. He was moving out on the right wing. He was working his way through the midfield. He was charging like there's no tomorrow. Running all over. Of course he had that bit of an injury problem, but even after that he was still working hard. And Crooks is, he's working himself rotten. He's working himself like he needs to start in this squad week in, week out. And that is one thing that you really want to see. A positive performance once again from Lundstrom. Nicely done there, commanding play in that midfield. Doing sort of the job that he needs to do. And we will see how his sort of time develops at Hull City. But a good job so far. Slater, he had a fantastic time as well, playing a bit of a different role. I talked about it earlier. He was in the sort of cam role, sitting behind the striker, charging forwards. He was getting onto things. The only problem was he was getting into the right places. He just doesn't have the right pivotal shots, the right pivotal attacks in them crucial moments. There was a few chances where maybe the ball got a bit underneath him, or his shot was off target, or his pass was misplayed in them pivotal attacking opportunities where if that had just gone right, we could be talking about a Hull City win here. That's the sort of situations there with Slater. We've seen it before, and I'm sure that Akievich can sort of get things going right for Slater, and we can sort of see it going through training, him maybe having a bit more attacking chances in training. Of course, this is Slater's first time really back in that cam role. For the past 2 seasons, he's been playing a bit more of a defensive, deeper role, CDM, even at points right back. So Slater coming up, it's going to take a bit of time to get used to it, so give it time. Nothing too much to worry, but certainly very, very positive from what we've seen so far in his positioning. Kamara out on the wide. Certainly started this game very, very well. I was saying for like the first 10, 15 minutes, well, this Kamara, he's got a bit more muscle about him. He's seeming far better than the points that we were seeing him last season. He seems like he's gone over this summer and he's gone, right, I need to develop so much as a player to help this team not have a repeat of last season. And he has done so. Fantastic performance, and a tribute to what he did out on the wing and what he's done in pre-season and what he's done obviously before pre-season, getting himself ready for the season. So another fantastic performance there from Kamara, and really showing why he might be staying around, and some fans may be clamouring for him to go. But after this performance, I think they might be changing their tunes or so. Kyle Joseph was the starting striker in this game. He was a bit non-existent in this one, I will be honest. Second half, before he did come off, he was running about a bit more, and we saw the pace going for him. And I think there was one chance where he nearly got a ball right off Kyle Rushworth in the second half. And he may have got a deflection off the clearance from Rushworth, as it seemed to not go anywhere that Rushworth wanted to. So Joseph there showing his pace, but it will be a case of Ollie McBurney will be the starting striker moving forwards. The last starting player we'll go through is Ndala. So he seemed quite nice. It was his first senior full debut in football, of course, coming from Manchester City's academy. He's been loaned out before to various different B-sides and academies, but never had a full run in senior football, and this is going to be his chance to do so, and looks good. I maybe would have liked a little bit more freedom like we saw in that Sunderland pre-season friendly for him to run and change and chop and turn, and that may come with time, and that may come against a different opposition. We'll wait and see, but certainly a good performance. We've seen some good things in there from Ndala. He's a very raw player. You can do a lot of shaping, a lot of moulding, and that's one thing that I quite find positive. Ndala under Jakiewicz, well, that's just going to create a force for the good for Hull City, a force for evil for opposing sides. With 4 substitutes, though, for Hull City that we have to go through. Palmer and McBurney were the first ones on, as I said. We'll go through Palmer first. Palmer, alright, return back to his former team. Didn't have too much to go for him. Had a very good shot from outside of the area. The shot was good. It was nowhere near on target. We've seen it before. We've seen it time and time again. I'm sure it won't be the last time we see one of them outside of the box long-range shots from Palmer. And they have been known to go in the back of the net. But Palmer, okay, return back to Coventry. McBurney, certainly, if he starts the game, he will be grabbing goals for Hull City. Presumably, he didn't start this one due to the fact that he's literally just signed and not had enough time in training and stuff, and various things like that. We kind of knew McBurney wasn't going to start. I was playing with the optimism that he might have done, but of course he didn't. Joseph was the one to start this one. Of course, Destan as well, out with a bit of an injury at the moment. Nothing too much to worry on, though, on the Destan front. But McBurney, if he starts games, he will grab goals for us. He will become a problem child up top. His work ethic. He's getting on now, McBurney. He's been around. He's come back to England. But his work ethic is second to none. He will be running on to everything. Even the way he conducts himself off the field is in interviews and everything. It's fantastic stuff, that, from McBurney. And hopefully it pays dividends in what we see him produce on the field for Hull City this season. Final player to go over is Nathan Tinsdale. So Tinsdale, of course, came on. Did an alright. He was the person that put the cross in, which resulted in the Matt Crooks barging into Carl Rushworth and that whole tussle. So Tinsdale did quite nicely in his little bit of a cameo role. I think he played about 10 minutes or so in this game. So not an overly large stretch of time for Tinsdale to get involved. But his senior professional debut for Hull City, senior professional debut full stop. Of course, one from the academy and another one that impressed in pre-season. It can certainly impress this season with his role that he might have. The unused substitutes, Dylan Phillips, John Egan, Akin Famewo, Farrell Brown, and also Cathal McCarthy. So 2 more academy lads there named on the bench. But a very, very positive 0-0 draw for Hull City. I say this, to have a positive season, you want to win games at home. When you go out on the road, don't lose. You grab the draws and you grab the wins when they come. And Hull City have started their season in the right way with a 0-0 draw. And as of full time, we were in the playoffs. But I mean, It's far too early to look at the table. Not even everyone's played, as we were the early kickoff today. So, Hull City will go again in the Carabao Cup, this time on Tuesday against Wrexham. Of course, I'll have every bit of coverage ahead of that game and also a live stream here on the channel for a watch-along with that Wrexham Hull City Carabao Cup game in the first round. So stay tuned on the channel by liking and subscribing to keep up to date with everything Hull City, as this season was a very, very positive start, and it could continue to be even more positive as Hull City maybe play the dark horse in this championship campaign. I'll see you in the next video. Up the Tigers!